Welcome back to Off the Ball here at the Aviva Fan Studio, where Ireland have beaten Argentina this evening by 28 points to 19, everybody. It was a sticky enough finish for that game from an Irish point of view, but as you can see, and we're going to get into the fine details of it very shortly, there is a lot of dev love going on around here. It's coming from really only one source, it has to be said, but we're going to come to that in a minute. We're going to get into the meat of it, 28-19, and try to summarise, the game and the series, and certainly to take some of the positives of it. Again, no clues for who's sort of getting involved here. Dev can play. Devastation, I heard you saying at one point during the game. But he is the future, as well as a bit of the past.
He is bright.
But the future is very bright from an Irish point of view. I think we've used, it might be 36 players over the course of the series. This is, I'm assuming, exactly what Joe Schmidt would have wanted out of it.
I think so, exactly. And, that Fiji game, getting to use, change the team up with 13 new players. As I said before, Joe probably kind of learnt from the 2015 quarter-final, losing those four big players in, who was it again? Paul O'Connell, Sexto, Peter O'Mahony, and who was the fourth one? Sean O'Brien to a ban. I think he learned that we need more depth in our squad. So, great chance for them to play a few lads in the Fiji game, and it's been a great Guinness series for the lads.
Yeah. Can I take that point on, Niamh?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think given the fact that we wouldn't lose any rankings, wasn't anything majorly special about this in terms of, where we stand in stipulation of the rankings for our rugby. I think it was the right thing to do to use so many players. I think parts of things will have frustrated Joe a lot. He prides himself on efficiency and everybody being on the same page. I think there was little snippets of throughout the series of things of not really working or going to plan, and I suppose when a team can try and make their way or navigate their way through that, it's always a good thing. But I don't think he'll be overly happy with today's performance, especially.
We'll come back to that in a second, but just I know there'll be some players who currently aren't in the squad, Andrew, who would be certainly eyeing the opportunity to get back in there. But if you can park that for 1 second, it's obviously been a very successful series from an Irish point of view. Yeah,
absolutely. We've touched on it a bit. Any other coach would be over the moon. Joe will be thinking, right, how do we get better straight away? So that's the reason why we're so good, because he keeps driving standards. But a lot of new guys brought into the setup and 3 wins. So I think you'd do well to find something to be disappointed about.
Again, just before we get into the meat of this game, on that point about trying to find something that they can, because I'm assuming that even from the Fiji game, that would have been quite in a quiet moment. Joe Schmidt would have been thinking, actually, that's not the worst thing that could happen here. So just in terms of that idea of going forward into the Six Nations, what would be one thing that each of you might identify as being a work on or an area to improve from an Irish point of view?
I think it's very tough. I think we're nitpicking at this stage. I think we've been very, very good for all 3 games. Parts of Fiji, you can tell there's a few new guys in there, a little bit of inexperience, and the game got a bit loose at times. But today we got our standards up again where they were, not quite to where they were for South Africa. It got a little bit loose at times, but defensively we were unbelievably solid in South Africa. We were solid for long periods today, and then the 3 tries they scored were all a little bit soft, but shouldn't take away from how good our defence was for long periods, but just 1 or 2 moments where we switched off. But we're really nitpicking at this stage,
One work on?
Like Trimble said, I think if we're nitpicking, maybe a couple of times Argentina got outside us in the wide channel, so maybe a bit of that, width in defence, which, as again I said, the 2015 game when Argentina, we were too narrow and they kept getting on the outside of us, so maybe a couple of times they did there. South Africa got on the outside of us a couple of times as well, so maybe that's an area. And then the other area which Joe won't be happy about, and I've seen it myself from being in camp, is that mental switch off after half time, letting Argentina, the game was won, letting them back into the game. That's a huge area which Joe will be talking to the lads about in the review.
Yeah, similar. I think the huge mental switch off afterwards will be hard for Joe to take, I think, because he doesn't ever switch off mentally. And also, we were in the scoring zone a lot over these 3 games and weren't probably as clinical as we wanted to be. I think that'll definitely be an area that he'll want to work on. I think we had a huge amount of possession today again and didn't have a whole lot of points on the board for it, and I think that's a little bit of a worry.
Is that a system thing, or is that just an individual error thing that a lot of these players are getting used to this level?
It could be a bit of both. I think it was just maybe not been patient enough at times. I think we saw a couple of times there Conor and Johnny tried crossfit kicks that didn't come off, but if they did come off, we'd be all singing their praises. So it's kind of that fine balance of it. But but it's nitpicking, as Andrew said. I think definitely if we had the ball for that amount of time, New Zealand or these big brilliant teams, they punish you for it, and that's where we have to strive for it, to be that ruthless.
So just on our defence is kind of goodish, particularly we've given away another try at the end there. I think that's 5 for the series. You've just touched on that sort of narrow defence thing. It's been a bit of a common theme during the series. It's probably a bit of a common theme of Joe Schmidt teams anyway. But the concession of 5 tries over the series, is where do you see that?
We really are nitpicking, aren't we? But that defensing. Last year in the Six Nations, Scotland caught us out wide a good few times, but Andy Farrell after the first game, I think it was, fixed that. So, it's Irish rugby's in a very good place, having beaten South Africa, New Zealand, Australia in one calendar year, beaten South Africa again by 30 points. So there's a lot to look forward to going into the Six Nations and leading into the next World Cup. Yeah,
we've got to talk about this guy, obviously.
Jacob!
Two tries. 2 tries. And it was the all-round display, Andrew, that was...
very poor. I thought it was very poor, I must say.
Niamh, take that up. He was outstanding again today. The second try, the second
Absolutely,
after.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think the lines of running that he runs, my heart just stopped after that. I spoke about it at half time, the fact that he's so eager to get on the ball, he works incredibly hard, so he was absolutely outstanding today.
Keep your questions coming into us, by the way. Hashtag Aviva Fan Studio. We're going to pick out the best commenter question over the next 5-10 minutes thereabouts, and somebody's going to be coming to join us at the next Aviva Fan Studio, so keep them coming in. We've got one in here from Phil on Twitter. This is for the panel. If you're picking a World 15, how many Irish players will be in there? Got to be the form international side at the moment, he says.
Yeah, 100%. I think
Dev Toner would definitely be in there for me.
Playing out half, probably. I'd say.
Yeah, well, he's my favourite player, as I've alluded to in the past. But
you have alluded to that, yeah. What are we thinking in terms of the players that we were picking a World 15? It's a tough sort of.
Well, obviously, you'd think
subjective question.
Conor Murray definitely would. For me, he's the informed 9. I think.
Sexton.
I think it's
good. So, it's hard. It's the type of games that they.
Yeah, the way we play is. It kind of doesn't really highlight individuals. I think if you're going to pick a World 15, you put Farrell and Schmidt and his coaches. Probably be the best thing we could contribute, definitely.
I think Joe's watching this, mate.
But pick me. I'm fresh, coach. Put me in. Yeah, I can still do a job. Someone gets injured.
Well, he scored a try last night, so this is good.
Oh, we don't have to talk about that again.
Mike for teaching.
What do you think? Any thoughts, forward point of view, apart from Dev, obviously, that's a banker?
I think there's 7 lines in the pack, so it's kind of littered with players who would qualify for, inclusion in that World 15. So I think Murray and Sexton definitely are probably the best half-back pairing in the world, with Farrell, obviously. I think all.
I agree, though. We definitely are the informed team. And when you said earlier on, about Argentina playing against the likes of New Zealand and that kind of stuff, that they could come here and put in a good performance. It's not, we should be holding ourselves to the expectation of being like New Zealand. Okay, obviously they're an unbelievable team, but we aren't, I believe, very far off being up there in that echelon, and we should carry ourselves like that. And when we play teams, we have an expectation now that we should A, play well, and B, win. And it's hard for the players to have that expectation, but that's the way it is, because we've been so good the last 12, 15 months.
Well, I think going forward as well, like leading into the Six Nations, the RFU will go away now and rotate certain players, make sure, cut down their game time, tell the provinces who can play, who can't play. So, the beauty of that is we're going into the Six Nations fresh, players are fresh, whereas you look at maybe England, I think they're pretty littered at the moment with a good few injuries. So, I think that's a massive plus going forward to the Six Nations as well, that players will be looked after now leading into that Six Nations.
One player that we didn't get a great amount of time to talk about so far today, but I do want to come to him. The guy that Dev came on for, he only got, I think, about 46 minutes or thereabouts, but he's a really exciting prospect who is 5th Ireland cap today. He's only played 4 times for Leinster. You've been watching him for a while. What did you see from him today, or generally Is he the future of the second row alongside Dave?
Phenomenal performance. I mean, he was like a lot of the guys today. Not loads of people stood out. It was just a real workman-like performance, and I suppose he just did the graft that you expect from a lock. But he's, as we spoke about before, he's very physical. He's great in the line-out, and to get 50 minutes of Test match rugby at that age is going to stand him in real good stead going forward.
Yeah, all right, we're going to come back for your man of the match very shortly, but I do want to point out, I don't know if we can get a shot of the scoreboard here, that one of our pundits was very close up until the last second there. We had a 26-12 situation, Andrew. That was...
We did, yeah.
You were almost there.
Listen, I know a thing or two about rugby.
Which is to suggest what?
I think I was too confident after the South Africa game.
Yeah,
but,
maybe. I actually thought we'd be
that's
better.
That's ridiculous, 46.
I think we'd be more efficient with ball in hand, to be honest, and I felt that we could have. That could have been a game that we could have put those kind of points up.
All right, give it up for our pundits, ladies and gents. We do, I'm delighted to say, we are joined in the Aviva Fan Studio by a very special guest, former Ireland cricketer and twice Rugby World Cup referee, Alan Lewis, everybody. How's it going?
Very good.
Enjoy that?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a work, like what the guys said, a workman-like performance. Felt a bit like a training run, really, more than
enough about
else.
the referee. What about the game?
About the referee? Oh, the referee. The referee was very calm. Matthew Reynal, he's a good referee. He's quite calm, and he did an efficient job, I thought.
He had a few. That's a very good sort of referees.
Is that referee speak? Is it?
Yeah, very efficient job, which leaves it open to sort of all sorts of interpretation.
Okay. Well, he didn't have much to worry about, really. There was a potential of a no-arms tackle from Tyg Furlong, which took an age to sort out. But I thought it takes a bit too long. I think. Like it was, you kind of knew about 2 minutes earlier. I don't know what the guys think, but I think these things go on a little bit too long, I have to say.
It's like as a player, get under your skin a bit.
Well, you could feel the crowd. Like the crowd were kind of saying, "Come on, let's get on with it." We all know it was like it was shoulder and arms. It was fine. We just need to get on with it and get the game going again.
I think I remember you during your mics are on, by the way, so you can stop whispering over there.
As a viewer, it gets under my skin the amount of time it takes, but when I'm playing, I'm actually pretty glad of the rest because I'm blowing up my. So.
Is that the way it goes? Are you pretty glad of the breather, or are you kind of like?
I tell you that we have TMOs at our games, but we don't. So.
World Rugby, are you listening?
It's much better. Much better.
No,
Let the referee make the decision.
Yeah.
Be much better. Move to the cricket analogy. Let the ref make the decision. If you want to come back, contest it. Might be a bit easier, I think.
We're solving problems here.
This
is groundbreaking stuff.
We will solve the problems of the world here.
Yeah.
We are the future.
We are going to have actual music later.
Are we?
Yeah.
You want me to sing?
Yeah, well.
Okay, I promise
as long
I'll
as he
sing.
doesn't sing, I'm sorry.
No, he's not singing. He's not singing. But we'll get Dev to sing.
That thing that, yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. That thing that you mentioned, that sort of continuity. We did see a little bit of that at one point. There was the possibility of a tip tackle there in the first half, and the referee did say, calling his TMO to have a look while allowing the game to continue.
Well, you do that, like, because you can go back to it. But the only thing that kind of, in a sense, worries me a little, looking at the game, is, say, for the South African match we were told, for 70 minutes you kind of felt, is the game kind of going to get going? And you win a game 38-3, but for 70 minutes I sensed that the public weren't as happy about it, because the problem with the game, as I see it now with the change in the tackle law, is there aren't as many turnovers. So as a referee, you were gagging for turnovers. Every time you were looking for that type of thing to happen. And often when you did, that was a massive attacking opportunity. Often if you were in your own 22, and that's where game changes. Whereas a lot of the time now, it's 20 phases, set piece, mistake, 20 phases. And I don't know what the practitioners feel about that, but that's something that I feel is and I don't want to be a hurler on the ditch as someone who's been there and done that, but that was the gig when you were refereeing. That was the type of, like, you might have 170 tackles in a match, 30 of which were probably of consequence, where you had something to referee. And then, like now you've got multi-phases, set piece, multi-phases. That's just one of the things that I feel that I'm sensing at the moment.
Watching the Ashes?
Well bowled.
Well bowled. Come on, mate.
Enjoying?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. But it's going to be a big morning session tomorrow. Or tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight, yeah. Are you going to watch?
Absolutely.
I thought
Nothing I love more than staying up until 4 a.m.
No, you only have to stay up till 2:30.
All right, I mean, in that
you'll
case.
be fine. You'll be fine.
Alan Lewis, everybody.
Good to
Thanks
see you.
Cheers for that, thank you. former Irish international referee, so delighted he could come and join us in the Aviva Fan Studio. Thanks a million to you as well for all your questions over the last few series and getting in contact with us. We're going to announce now the winner of the best question that's going to come and join us this madness in the Aviva Fan Studio for our next game. And it really wasn't so much to do with his question, which was just all right, Mike, but it's more to do with the fact that his name is Noddy Gallagher. So Noddy Gallagher, everybody, is coming to join us next time. Right, quick summation in terms of how positive are we feeling ahead of the Six Nations, everybody? Are we kind of...
Well, if Trimmy gets back in, I'm delighted.
Are we...
Yeah, let's pump it up.
Are we...
Pump it up.
Off the scale.
Where are we, everybody, in terms of the Six Nations?
Keep going.
Right here?
Keep going.
Right here?
All the way.
All the way, baby. Right, whoa.
Oh, it's off the scale.
Off the charts.
It's off the scale.
Off the charts.
Yeah, I
Off
think...
the scale, man.
I think, you know, it's tough Six Nations. Let's not kind of run away with ourselves. Away to France, away to England. Two really big games. France up first. It's going to be tough. And but yeah, look, I definitely do think that we'll definitely be the team to beat.
Yeah, everybody. Andrew,
Yeah,
you can't really say much else. But
Scotland are going very well at the minute as well, so they'll be a handful. But yeah, it's tough competition, and it's different to this. You know, there's nothing really on the line here. You know, when it gets to Six Nations time, it becomes kind of more of an arm wrestle, more of a test match.
as long as Big Dev is in there, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I concur.
Right.
Exciting times for Irish rugby.
Absolutely.
Here.
He's looking for a recall. Right, everybody, give it up for our pundits. For Mike McCarthy. For Niamh Briggs. And for Andrew Trimble. The guys are going to be back in just a little bit to pick their man of the match from today's game, so keep across our social channels for all of that good stuff. But before any of that, I want to let you know that there's if I can stay on my feet, there's a brand new single out. It's for a brilliant cause. It's by Red Empire. It's called A Dublin Christmas, and all the proceeds go to the homeless of Dublin. So get out there and buy it. And to play us out, of course, is Red Empire.
If you don't wanna sing, then I will sing for you. If you don't wanna drink, then I will drink for two. And if your heart feels the pain, then maybe your heart needs to. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to you. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to you. very Merry Christmas to you. I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to you.
Right.